What is wealth in your experience?
In my experience, knowledge is wealth. Experience is wisdom is wealth. I would say that the two greatest things which can be assets as wealth is knowledge and wisdom.
Okay, thank you. Continue if you have something more to say.
Knowledge and wisdom is something which really makes a person wealthy, because a person who is knowledgeable, a person who is wise, is a person who is always a person who is going to benefit the society. He can solve the problems of the society. He or she is a person to whom other people can look up to. He can bring more prosperity to the society, because he or she is going to use the knowledge and the wisdom, which is the result of that knowledge, to bring more peace and happiness and joy to the people that they live in. So the two pillars of wealth, I would say, this of course does not mean that wealth does not relate to money or material means, because they also are needed as much for our material existence.
Yes.
But mankind, as the Prophet Jesus has rightly said, that we are not mere material. It's not just the food that we eat, it's also that word which comes out of the mouth of God which nourishes us.
Yeah.
So we have this spiritual aspect and we have this material aspect. So the spiritual aspect is nourished by the wisdom and knowledge that we have, and the material aspect is nourished and reared by the material sources that we have. So both are needed. But if we have material success or material things at the cost of knowledge and wisdom, then this is something, of course, which would not be at the right balance. So again, here is the golden mean. We have to have wisdom and knowledge, and of course we must not disregard the wealth and assets that the Almighty has given us, because those wealth and assets have to be used again for not only to our own advantage, but they have to be paid back to the society that we live in, and we have to share what we have with other people. We must not look down upon wealth as if it is something bad. No, it's not bad. Of course, we need it. We need the resources. 40% or 35% of the world today is living below the poverty line. So the wealth is going to obviously benefit them. So we must not look down upon what wealth is, but we must revere wisdom and knowledge more than we do regard the material aspect.
Okay. What is the value of gratitude in your life?
Supreme value. You see, it's the basis of our relationship with our Creator. The Almighty has blessed us with so many things and so many favors that we can simply not count them. And it is this relationship which comes into being with our Creator that we are not able to acknowledge all the favors and all the gifts that He has given us. And because that cannot happen, we are always in a state of gratitude to the Creator. Look at our normal bodies, look at the parents, look at the environment, look at the small things that we have. I mean, we think of a certain thing and the next moment we are able to achieve that. And how many people in the world are not able to do that? And however much we might be deprived of certain things, if we make a list of things that we have and the list of things that we might be complaining of, that list is huge.
I was going to ask, how can somebody be thankful, because many people are always complaining. So how do you get that?
I always say that it's like a gratitude walk. Like we have a nature walk. When we appreciate nature, we have a nature walk. We used to do that when we were growing up in schools. So we must educate our children to have this gratitude walk. When you go out in the streets, maybe when you're driving a car, look at the people who are cycling, or maybe they're standing at bus stops, or people who are, when you pass by shops, look at the people who are standing there waiting for customers, and they don't know whether they're going to come today or not, and they might have to shut their shops without any customers. So it's like realizing the environment in which you are. Look at the hospitals, look at the graveyards even. And I do remember this famous incident with one of my friends. When he got married, he actually, the first thing that he did, he took his wife to a graveyard, and his wife was extremely, she was annoyed also, and she was surprised as well. But the guy had a point to make, and he said that whatever you do in our life, let's start by realizing that this is our last place. This is the place that we're going to come to. So if we have the priorities in our life set properly by viewing that this is our last place, we will always be in the right frame of mind. So this gratitude walk, this gratitude ride when you're riding a car, and always drenching yourselves with the fact that how your Lord has been kind to you in so many ways. I mean, this breathing that we do involuntarily. I have seen patients die of lung cancer in which they have to voluntarily breathe. Imagine yourself drawing a breath voluntarily. It's so irritating. You happen to do it without any voluntary activity.
Yes.
So imagine yourself drawing a breath every now and then on a voluntary basis, and you'll get sick and tired of your own self. So cancer patients, especially lung cancer patients, they have to go through this ordeal, and it's a big ordeal. So we take so many things for granted. I mean, the eyes that you're there, the ears that you have. Once I was in an office trying to submit a document, and there was a very young child. I mean, he was about 20 years old or so, a very handsome boy. He had some documents in his hands, and I had some documents to submit as well. Specifically, it was a visa actually for a travel, and I was so attracted by his personality that I started to talk with him, and I said, okay. And without realizing that he was not answering me, I had actually gone about 40 seconds in my talk, and then he said, I'm a deaf person. It literally shook me. He was so handsome. He was he had such an attractive personality, and the documents that he was carrying were very imposing as well, that I didn't realize that simply not being able to hear what your environment is to offer you are nowhere. And we take our faculty of hearing to be granted. So let's not take things for granted. Let's always count these things that we take for granted, and that will make us more grateful individuals.
Thank you. What is the value of time?
Time is, I would say, money, and money is something that we always value. The biggest asset that we have is time, because if we value time, we will end up being valued ourselves, and if we waste time, we might end up wasting ourselves. Time is the biggest asset that we have, so therefore we must keep count of every second of our life. We must plan our lives. We must have a timetable set before us. This is what I'm going to do today. We should have a checklist. And I think any person who wants to be a high achiever in life, who wants to do something in life, has to be a person who has the greatest value given to time. Because it is the time that you don't realize it goes away that can make or break you. It can build you and it can break you. So if you utilize time for your own well-being, not only for your own well-being, but for the society also, you'll realize that 24 hours are not enough.
Thank you. Are you a conscious person about the environment? Like, do you recycle, or do you?
Very much. Very much.
Are you able to do that in Pakistan?
As much
we don't
as we
have
can.
The setup there.
What I do is that we at least create this awareness among people that we have to recycle things. And my sister, who is based in Karachi, she is actually a specialist in this, and she would not let us throw away anything. For example, shopping bags or paper or anything. She says that everything has a value. And in Karachi, actually, there is this person who has actually built sort of a house. It's not a house. It's like a room from pieces of paper put together on top of each other and gluing them together, and she's made a whole structure out of it, giving us this awareness that everything has a use in it. So recycling and reclaiming things is, although it's a relatively new phenomenon in Pakistan, but people are coming up to it, and we must create. I think the starting point of all such things is to create an awareness of these things. Because it's a lack of awareness which prevails there. It's more of ignorance. As soon as you make people aware that how you can contribute with broken things, with things which you just throw away, you just start giving them this notion.
Our culture used to be more of a mending culture and a fixing culture rather than throwing it and buying it new. That wasn't the practices but I remember growing up.
That is the case. So actually we have to be people who are very thrifty. We have to be very, very careful in the living that we conduct ourselves. For example, we have so many things that are of use and we are not using them. In fact, we end up buying them again. So let's make a list of things which we have and which we can spare for other people. So it's like sharing and sparing. Spare things which you do not use. It could be anything. It could be medicine. It could be clothes. It could be shoes, bags, sheets, furniture, crockery, cutlery, so many things which we don't
recycle.
use. Which not only recycle
and not to buy enough, buy too much.
We can actually contribute. We can actually give them as donations to people who might be needing them. If we have 6 pairs of shoes and we are only using 2 or 3 of them, and at times we even forget the number of shoes that we have. So why should we go along with this lifestyle?
Because in Pakistan, I think we do take care of the we do contribute in gardening, which is another way of contributing to the environment and having more vegetation and plantation. And the government also has been on quite rigorously doing that. So planting the trees and all, but I think everybody should be doing that, and instead
Absolutely.
of cutting down the trees.
So environmental pollution, environmental everything which belongs to your environment is an asset to you, because the source of oxygen is the greenery around you. And if you cut down trees and if you cut down vegetation, and we don't realize that the fumes of carbon dioxide that we consume on roads as a result of noise pollution and car pollution, they affect us adversely. They cause so many health issues. Again, this is a matter of awareness. In third world countries, this awareness is still lacking, and a lot needs to be.
But the Quran does talk about the environment. Like when we talk about the Hajj, that you are not supposed to break any leaf or all that. That I think that's another way to talk about the environment, right?
Of course, the environment is something in which we have to educate our children that the religion that we follow and the innate guidance which God has given us is one in which it tells us that we have to be custodians of this environment. We have to be the person who looks after his orchard. We have to look after the environment in which we are in, because we are the greatest beneficiaries of this environment. And if we don't behave properly, it's going to be counterproductive. Also, there are living beings in the environment. I mean, plants are living beings, animals are living beings. They contribute to the environment that you live in, and if you don't care for them, I cannot say that, but I do think that God will not care for us. How would he get this mercy going on for us if we are not merciful to others?
Yep. All right. So thank you very much for this whole conversation, and I hope people will enjoy our rich and very informative conversation. So stay tuned and please subscribe to Light Up with Shua, and I'm sure I will have more of Dr. Shahzad Salim, and you don't know the work he has done. I know to some extent, and I will be bringing his work to you. So thank you. Very good.
I think the biggest thing that the contribution that you make with this program, Light Up with Shua, is that it's the spontaneity and the perhaps the experience and wisdom sharing that you contribute through. Because when you interview a lot of people, as you once said, that you even interview 4-year-olds and young boys and
teenagers
girls, and all sorts of. So you have a cross section of people. So this is such a rich experience that you just cannot know. You just don't know that the biggest students are not the teachers, but the students themselves. Because what you learn from your students and what you learn from other people is so rich and so diverse that you just cannot learn it from books or maybe many other conversations. A single conversation makes you learn a lot, and also puts your own mind in perspective, and also makes you more precise, because at times you haven't thought the way these thoughts come out of you, but when you do make them, when you express them, you get to know yourself as well, that this is what you believe.